It's 3 a.m., and you're staring at the ceiling when suddenly a memory hits you. That time 3 years ago when you introduced yourself, stumbled over your own name, and ended the sentence with a high-pitched, "Nice to meet you too," before the other person even spoke. Your stomach twists, your face flushes in the dark, and you feel the exact same sting of shame as if it's happening right now. Research shows that our brains process social rejection in the same regions as physical pain. This means that embarrassing memory isn't just a thought, it's a phantom wound. And the reason you can't stop replaying it is that your mind is trying to solve a puzzle that has no solution. Most people believe that cringing at the past is a sign of social anxiety or weakness. It's actually the opposite. It's a sign of a functioning yet misguided survival instinct. Today, we're performing a psychological autopsy on the awkward introduction to understand why these moments haunt us and how you can finally bury them. By the end of this video, you won't just stop cringing, you'll understand how to use these moments to build an unshakable sense of self. 1. The spotlight effect. You are not the main character of everyone else's life. Think back to that introduction. You likely felt like there was a giant neon sign over your head flashing the word failure. This is what psychologists call the spotlight effect. We chronically overestimate how much others notice our flaws. Imagine you are at a crowded party. You spill a drop of water on your shirt. To you, that tiny damp spot feels like a gaping hole. You spend the rest of the night hiding it, convinced everyone is whispering about your messiness. But here is the reality. Everyone else is also at that party, worried about their own damp spots, their own frizzy hair, or the joke they told that didn't land. The lesson here is liberation. People are far too obsessed with their own internal monologues to maintain a detailed record of your minor stumbles. That awkward moment you've replayed 500 times, the other person likely forgot it before they even left the room. They didn't see a failure. They saw a human being navigating a social interaction, just like them.
The next time you feel the spotlight burning, remind yourself, I am the protagonist of my story, but I am just a background character in theirs. If you find this perspective shift helpful, feel free to share a cringe moment you finally let go of in the comments. You'll be surprised how many of us have the exact same stories. 2. The Zeigarnik Effect. Why the brain loops the mistake. Why does the memory feel so active? Why won't it just sit quietly in the archives of your mind? This is due to the Zeigarnik Effect, a psychological phenomenon where our brains remember uncompleted or interrupted tasks better than completed ones. In your mind, that awkward introduction is an incomplete task. Because the interaction didn't go perfectly, your brain views it as an open loop. It keeps dragging the memory back to the workspace of your conscious mind, trying to find a way to fix it. But you can't fix the past. So the brain just loops it, over and over, hoping for a different outcome that will never come. To close the loop, you have to stop trying to rewrite the script. You have to accept the bad ending. When the memory pops up, don't fight it. Don't try to explain why it happened. Simply label it. This is an open loop. Then consciously finish the story by saying, it happened, it's over, and I survived. By acknowledging the completion of the event, even if it was messy, you give your brain permission to move it to the archived folder. 3. The Perfectionism Paradox. The cost of being smooth. We often obsess over awkward moments because we have a hidden contract with ourselves. I must be liked by everyone at all times by being perfectly composed. This is the Perfectionism Paradox. The more you try to be smooth, the more rigid and anxious you become, which actually increases the likelihood of an awkward moment. Consider the pratfall effect. Research suggests that people who are generally competent are actually perceived as more likable when they make a mistake. Why? Because perfection is intimidating and alienating. Vulnerability, even the accidental kind, is a bridge. When you stumbled over your words, you weren't being weird, you were being relatable.
The most charismatic people you know aren't people who never fail. They are people who aren't afraid of failing. They lean into the awkwardness. If they trip, they laugh. If they forget a name, they admit it. They've realized that social grace isn't the absence of mistakes, it's the ability to forgive yourself in real time. Your awkward self is often your most honest self. Stop trying to kill the part of you that is humanly imperfect. That part is the only part people can actually connect with. 4. Cognitive Reframing. Turning cringe into compassion. The reason these memories hurt is that we view them through the lens of our current, more evolved selves. You are judging your past self with the wisdom you have today, but that's unfair. Think of your past self as a younger sibling or a student you are mentoring. If you saw a friend stumble in an introduction, would you mock them for years? Would you tell them they are worthless? Of course not. You would offer them a hand and tell them it's okay. The cringe you feel is actually a sign of growth. You only feel embarrassed because you now know better. If you weren't embarrassed by your past, it would mean you haven't grown at all. So the next time that 3 a.m. memory hits, try this practical shift. Instead of saying, "I was so stupid," say, "I'm glad I've grown enough to recognize that wasn't my best moment." Replace the sting of shame with the warmth of self-compassion. You are a work in progress, and every awkward introduction is just a rough draft of the person you are becoming.
Conclusion. We've dissected the anatomy of the awkward moment, and here is the final report. Your brain isn't trying to haunt you, it's trying to protect you. It's trying to keep you from being cast out of the tribe by highlighting your social errors. But we no longer live in a world where a clumsy greeting results in exile. You are allowed to be awkward. You are allowed to be messy. You are allowed to take up space without having a perfect script. The ghosts of your past embarrassments only have power as long as you try to run away from them. The next time a memory makes you wince, breathe into it. Smile at your younger, clumsier self. They were doing the best they could with what they had. Close the loop. Turn off the spotlight. And remember, the world isn't waiting for you to be perfect. It's just waiting for you to show up. Be brave enough to be awkward, and you'll eventually find the freedom to be yourself.